Hello, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Angela Braniff, and today we're going to be talking about and tackling digital decluttering. Okay, so I am a mom of 8, as most of you know at this point if you've seen any of my previous videos. I have 8 kids. I have kind of a lot going on in my life. I don't like to necessarily glorify the whole busy perspective from it, but I have a very full life, as I like to say. So I really wanted to start a series where we're going to tackle decluttering basically my entire life. I thought I really need to do this. I want to do this from like head to toe, outside, inside, everything. I want to declutter it all. And I thought you guys might want to come along and watch because there's really no telling what's going to happen. And then I also thought that maybe you might just want to follow along and do it with me. So this video is kicking off our new decluttering series. Don't really know exactly what I'm going to be calling it yet, but this is, you guys are coming along while I declutter basically my entire life. So here we go. We are going to start this week. There will be a new episode every week, and we're going to start this week with digital decluttering. I figured this was a perfect place to start because number one, it's kind of like a big win, right? We get to do all of this. It has a big impact on us, but it doesn't take a whole ton of work to make it happen, right? It's a little time consuming, but not too crazy. So we're going to start today with 7 steps to decluttering your digital space. These things have helped me immensely, and I really believe as moms who are very busy and we go through the lists and everything, you're going to see that I think these things will really help you too. So let's just go ahead and jump in. All right, so the first thing you're going to declutter is your social media. You might be asking, oh, what does that mean exactly? What do you mean declutter my social media? What I really mean is go through and not only look at your own account, if there's things that you feel like you want to delete, maybe you posted something at a time when you shouldn't have been posting online. Just get rid of that. Get rid of it. But more so what I'm talking about is curating who you're following online, especially as we're ushering in this new year and most of us have some kind of feelings, intentions, goals even for what you want to accomplish, what you want to do, changes you want to make in your own life. And a lot of times, you know, what we see, what we consume every day is affecting that. And so making sure that you are following people that you feel are encouraging you, speaking life into you to kind of go in the direction that you want to go, whatever that may be, right? So maybe you want to slow down and you want to be more intentional about following people who are really into slow living, intentional living, but maybe you also have been following a bunch of accounts from people who are all about like just constant pushing of productivity or consumerism or things that just are not your jam right now. It's okay, number one, to completely unfollow, but also if it's maybe someone you know personally or someone that you think, well, I don't really want to totally unfollow, I just need a break, utilize the mute button, okay? Instagram has really just done me right with adding a mute button. I can mute people's stories or their posts. Yeah, if it's not what I want, if it's not my cup of tea, if it's not helping me right now, or if it's somehow causing me some kind of level of extra stress or whatever, I can just mute them for a time. So start with your social media, grab the bull by the nose and take back control. Curate your social media to what you want it to be. You get to control your online experience. That is kind of one of the nice things about it is you get to control that. Okay, so number 2 is going to be cleaning out your emails and your inbox. This is something that I greatly struggle with. So I do not come to you as an expert in most of these things. I'm merely saying like, this is stuff I'm doing and I think it might help you too. Emails are just like the bane of my existence. I see ones that I know are important and I'm like, oh, I'll just leave those unread. So then my brain will say, you need to go back and tackle that. And next thing I know, it's buried on the next page. It's a terrible system. It does not work for me. So going through and first of all, looking at all the folders you have in your emails, getting rid of stuff that you don't need. You don't need a bunch of shipment notifications from products you've already received. If it's a situation where you can log in and check on the status, just delete all that stuff, your PayPal receipts and everything. Unless it's something that you need for business purposes or documentation, get rid of it. I am just so guilty of having a very, very cluttered email. So that's where I really like to start, is just clearing that out and getting my inboxes all to 0. Getting those to everything has been responded to and making it so that every day I'm seeing a pretty fresh looking inbox. And the second piece of that is to unsubscribe to emails that you do not want to be receiving. If you are getting emails and inundated every day with emails and sales from 50 different stores, if you're trying to be more intentional about what you're purchasing or purchase less or any of those things, or you're on a budget and you're trying to stick to that budget, just don't tempt yourself. Don't tempt yourself. I know that there's certain stores that I'm like, man, I love this store, but I have to unsubscribe from their newsletter or emails because it's like every time they send something, I'm like, oh, 50% off that. Look at the pretty dress. Oh. And next thing you know, I'm buying something I do not need. It takes some time. You got to scroll all the way to the bottom of that email and go through the unsubscribe process. Part of the way I like to do it is obviously like in chunks. So every day as I'm checking my email, I'm unsubscribing from things that I know that are not serving me anymore and that I don't need coming into my inbox. So you can do it little by little. You can also, I think there's a service called like Unroll Me or Unsubscribe Me, and that will kind of more batch do it, but I just find it easier to kind of tackle it one at a time. That's just me. There are multiple ways to tackle the email that just gets out of control. The third one is photos. So if you are like me, as I mentioned, I have 8 children, so I take a lot of photos of my kids on my phone. It's kind of crazy. And also because I create digital content, I'm also often taking photos for brands or for videos or, whatever. So I'm taking a lot of photos. And what ends up happening is like my kid is doing something super cute and I take 65 photos of that super cute thing. And then I never go back and actually delete the 64 that I'm not going to use, don't need, whatever. So my photo album ends up, or my photos on my phone, that album ends up being massive and out of control. So go back through. If you took 150 selfies to get to that one perfect selfie, get rid of the 149 that you don't need. If you've got 65 pictures of your kid peeing on the potty for the first time, like maybe let's trim that down. They only need one of those to horrify them later in their adulthood when you show it at a wedding slideshow. Like you only need one piece of evidence of that. You will feel less attached to a weird photo later, right? Later, if it's even been like a year or so and you're really going back through your phone, you might be like, okay, I do not need that. Or at least I do not need so much evidence of that. One photo will do. So go back through, clean up your photos, and then maybe this is just me because I'm late to the party on everything, but create really good organized albums on your phone. I was really bad at that, and as I've started to do it, I'm like, man, it really makes things so much better when I have specific albums that I can move photos in, both for personal stuff and for work stuff, dividing it up by my kids. So like, here's an album of all my photos of Benjamin. Here's an album of all my photos of Noah. Here's all my photos of Rosie. Like whatever it is, dividing that up into an album has just been really, really beneficial for me, especially when sorting like screenshots or memes or something that I might have saved. And of course, that's after you've gone through and trimmed them down and gotten rid of the ones that you do not need anymore. All right, so the next thing, and this is one that I can't believe that I didn't do previously, but I'm super glad I've done now, and that is tackle and clean out my iTunes. We go through phases in life. If you're like me, I love music. It speaks to my soul at different parts of my life. I really mean that. Like, that may sound really cheesy, but like I love music. But what ends up happening is that maybe I go through a phase where I'm listening to a certain kind of music, and then years go by and that song comes up when I'm just trying to do like a shuffle on my playlist and I'm like, what is this? Or your children make you download some horrible soundtrack to a movie, listen to it ad nauseum 150 times until you can't stand it anymore, and then they're over it. But yet somehow that is still on your phone. So go through, clean out your iTunes, get rid of albums, songs, things that you're not listening to anymore, that you know you're not going to. Perhaps it was a phase in your life and we need to move on from it, you know? The next one is to tackle all of the apps that are on your phone, your tablet. Some people really get really good with the organization of their phones and tablets and the apps, and they sort things by color or by type. Like mine are sorted into albums by what they are. So editing apps or educational apps for my kids or like health and fitness stuff. But I don't need 6 apps to track running, okay? Like I just don't. And so going through and deleting those, that will also help you budgeting wise. If you go through and look at what your subscriptions are, what are you paying for every month? Are you even using that anymore? And it seems like a lot of times, well, it's 99 cents, it's $1.99 or whatever, but all of that really adds up. And so going through, deleting apps that you're not using, games your kids used to play on your phone, really going through and cleaning up the apps that are on your phone, making that phone that you're picking up and looking at a more aesthetically pleasing, simpler, easier to navigate space. And again, I know some people are just this way by nature, but I'm taking y'all through my journey, which is that I am not this way by nature. I am not organized by nature. I have to cultivate that in my life. And so that's why I felt like doing these videos would be helpful to y'all too, because just know I'm not alone in the struggle to want to be organized despite the fact that it's not your nature. Okay, the next one is your desktop and all of the files on your computer. This one can be a little time consuming, but I will say, when I used to have my photography business, I had like a screensaver that was sorted by like needs to be edited, needs to be uploaded, sort of wherever the album from that client was in my queue and in my like sort of workflow process. There was like a little folder. It was made into like a picture that existed on my desktop as the backdrop so that you could just move those folders around, and it kind of kept it in order. And when I retired from my photography business, I really just got out of the habit of doing that. And now my desktop for the last like 2 years has looked like something I don't even know. I feel so much shame. I had to do a video call with my virtual assistant and I had to share my screen with her, and I was mortified. I was like, oh my God, she's gonna see this because she's like the most organized person on the planet. And I was like, she is gonna think I'm a psychopath. Because people who are really organized, I think that people who are not are a little bit crazy, because you all don't understand how we can live like this in this kind of chaos. We don't really know how we live like this either, but we function, so we're okay. But I was so mortified. I was like, I've got to get control of this. So going through, cleaning up files, deleting stuff that you don't need, reorganizing things, moving stuff to external hard drives, whatever it is, get your computer space cleaned up, organized. That has been like one of the most peace, like home things for me, is to not open my desktop and see hundreds of files and pictures. I'm telling you, you would be mortified if you saw it. And the last one, we're up to tip number 7, and that is to clean out your contacts. So again, not something that I often think of to do, but really, you know, maybe you have contacts for your child's previous pediatrician or your old family care doctor or someone that you used to work with that you're not really friends with and you know you're not going to talk to them anymore. Just really go through and clean out your contacts, get rid of people, anything you can do to, like I said, just make everything a little more curated, simplified, less stuff that's unnecessary and just there to clutter up. Also, less people for your kids to accidentally call. All right, guys, so that is it. Those are my 7 tips for decluttering your digital space. I feel like, again, this is a good place to start. It gives you some big wins, some things that really help you mentally before you're moving into the next. And that's where I'm at. I've got to tackle next in the series, I've got to tackle my clothes, which are a nightmare. It's going to be a nightmare. If you want to stay around for this train wreck, then don't forget to subscribe. But I'm moving into clothes, our kitchen, our play, like the kids' play stuff. I've got so much coming up. I'm just going to take you guys along as I try to simplify, declutter, take hold of my life with a husband and 8 children and a business to run and homeschool and all the things, all the hats that I'm wearing. And I just need my life to work for me and benefit me and not be something that causes me extra stress just by the nature of having too much stuff. That's the journey that I'm on. I'd love to bring you guys along with me, at least for the entertainment value of watching my train wreck. Maybe that's why you want to stay. I don't know. Or maybe you want to do it with me and we can be decluttering, getting our lives together buddies. Either way, subscribe, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments if you guys have decluttered any of your digital space, how it's helped you, or anything that I might have forgotten digitally speaking. Let me know down below in the comments. That will be helpful not only to me, but to anybody who stumbles across this video. But that is it, y'all, for today. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys again very soon.